Hey, distance nerding. Hello, Kevin Hogan. He said howdy
What's
from
up?
freezing
Oh my
cold
god, I was just
Bonita.
about to say, oh my god, I hope Say Wong's not in a car accident because I don't see him
Oh my
talking
goodness,
crap.
yeah. Where's Say Wong? Did he forget his login to come watch on YouTube? Oh my goodness. I
Hello,
was like really
Internet
shocked it was
Land.
silent. I was like so shocked. I was like, where is he?
I'm so used to having my self esteem demoralized by this point in the
Ha!
show, even before I get on stage. So if you're out there to Say Wong, I hope you're okay. I hope you're
Yeah, we
doing
do hope you're
something fun.
okay. We're allowed to give you crap because you give us crap.
I, I don't know if you can you hear that like sound in my mic.
It's very quiet.
It's very quiet. So just so you know, I do apologize for that, but it is an exciting noise. We here at Kyber Cave are finally getting our CNC machines running so that we can start producing our own material.
Oh,
So
that's
I have a
awesome.
person in the back working on the machines right now. If you hear like
Yeah,
some
it's
noise,
very faint, almost like it almost sounds like you have like a fan further away from you, kind of running. It's very
well, it
faint.
is a happy noise here at
Yes,
Kyber
it's a
Cave. So
happy noise at Kyber Cave. Guys, so hello, welcome to our last show of this year. Distance running, the beard's coming back. Yeah, I know. I need to trim it a little bit. No. But this is
wow.
our last show of the year, guys, and it's our last show with Kevin Hogan, our dear Comic Con reporter. He is taking an indefinite break, and that those things happen. People move on or they need a break, and we are more than supportive of anyone who needs to do such that work with us. But we will miss him greatly.
We
This
love Kevin Hogan and we appreciate all he has done for us. This segment's been running, I mean, since you've been here, right, Miss?
oh yeah, before I got here, all the segments we currently have were here before I arrived.
Right. So those, I mean, Kevin's been doing this for almost 2 years now,
Yeah.
running this segment, and it has been absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of people look forward to it every show. He lets us know about what's up and coming and shows us pictures of all the great events that we might not have had a chance to get to. So, Kevin, we want you to know from the bottom of our hearts, we love you dearly, and you will always have a platform here whenever you want to come back.
Absolutely. Distance learning, yes. We'll come hang out at your shows. Maybe I'll even come on if you want me to. I mean, I don't know. That's up to you guys. I've never actually been
Woohoo!
on their show, so
It's a
um,
ton of fun.
I'm sure when they do their dance party at the end, it really picks me up when I get to watch. Yes, Kevin, we thank you. We thank you, sir. We do have like kind of a couple ideas to put in his segment spot, but nothing's going to be nearly as cool and informative as that. Say Wong was the show on time, Metso. Say
There he is.
Wong,
Oh my
it was
goodness. I thought you
not.
were kidnapped.
But we
Holy
thought
goodness.
something happened to you because you weren't here 10 minutes early, heckling Van.
Right,
Yes,
right,
our
I know.
open invitation.
I
This is
actually got to
nerding.
open the show with some self esteem.
Mrs. Nerdy knows how to flatter a girl. Open invitation.
Woohoo!
Say Wong is late this time. All right, guys. Well, guess what? What do we always do first on?
Dirty news.
We do the nerdy news. And guess what? The first thing for nerdy news today is that inside Ahsoka, Natasha Liu Bordizzo, and Ivana Sanko on becoming Sabine Wren and Shinhati. They actually have a really cool interview that you can check out. I'm going to post it in the chat, but you can also check it out if I can get back to my video. You can also check it out in the description below if you're watching the upload. It's a really interesting interview, and I really enjoyed it. I like these actresses a lot, especially Shin. She's like I found her character really odd and interesting. I really like it.
Right. There's a
Um,
great little viral clip of her going around. She was at one of the conventions and someone had like a little mini land speeder. So she's driving around in the little land speeder.
oh, that's cute. That's
Super. I'll
adorable.
have to find that for you later.
Yeah, send it to me on Facebook. And then next on our news, Marvel Studios celebrates a new season of What If. So What If season 2 came
Yes.
out. I have not been able to watch any of it yet. It has been like it was a hectic week for my like the last 2 months have been kind of hectic for my family, and we're really behind on content we want to see. We're actually trying to get through Doctor Who, which is a long series. Even when you just start with the newer Doctors, it is a long series to get through, but it's very enjoyable. Um, And so, if you would like to check out the information about the new What If series, you can check that out in the chat or in the comment in the description below if you're watching the upload of it.
And if you need a quick synopsis on all your nerdy news happening throughout the week, if you're just as busy as Mets and I, you can always tune in on Saturday mornings and check out the Saturday morning nerd recap, the Saturday morning nerd out, where they recap some of the events that happened in the week in the world of nerds.
Last Saturday morning nerd out, which I unfortunately missed yesterday because I had a friend thing for Christmas.
Let's see.
Kyber Cave question. Can I just drop in specific hours, days? Might need to get. You can actually find their hours, I believe, on the website. Yeah.
Yes, we're open 4 days a week or by appointment. If you need need a special time, we can arrange that for you. I don't have my regular. I'm no longer teaching, so I'm banking everything on Kyber Cave right now. If Kyber Cave doesn't work out, I'm in big trouble. You'll see me out on the corner with a little cup and a lightsaber.
You're like his little sign is being held with a saber, like and the sign's attached. That's not gonna happen.
Mary Smith.
So just check out kybercave.com, distance learning. You can see the hours there, or you can find the phone number on there, and you can call and make an appointment, or you can just DM Van and be like, "I'm gonna come back."
It's not like I don't know you people.
Yeah, they know you. All right, so that is our nerdy news for today. And actually, what's really interesting, guys, is something that's not the most common, is our producer, James Kaiser, is actually our guest and our flow today.
Woo!
So I have a flow video for you that he sent that he just filmed, which was really, really cool. And then after that, Van will go ahead and introduce him, and we'll play an intro video. So first, let's just start off with his flow video. Please enjoy. Thank you, James. I'm very,
Woo!
very, very happy that we recorded that yesterday. I was like, hey, he and I both have long hair. And my first thought was, I'd be so scared to catch my hair on fire. But who knows? Maybe it's happened to him before occasionally.
I
I've actually
I
seen people
specifically
get their
was
hair cut that way too.
I was specifically looking at the video at the beginning video. He actually had the hood up because I was gonna make a comment about setting himself on fire. But Mez, let me ask you. I cannot remember. As far as I can remember, that's the first time we've seen the the Levis saber with on fire, isn't it?
Yes, first time I've ever seen
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen the Levis saber, thing before, but as far as I can remember, that's the first time we've seen one on fire.
Yeah, and that was really, really cool. So, would you like to actually introduce our guest so we can hear
Woo!
some more from Mr. Darth Cephalus?
In case that wasn't enough, you get to talk to the man himself. Don't forget, you can always ask questions and leave comments. That is the beauty of doing this live show. And before I get to James, I was looking over in the comment, and I was just thinking, man, what we are sometimes lucky to be in California. I was just thinking, say Juan was just at a gaming convention, and then he was asking Kevin how he was at cosplay in the park. And then Stephen Mead and I were at OhanaCon. So I was like, that's like 3 different things happening all in the same day, all in different little areas. It can be tough to choose what to go to sometimes. All right. Our guest for tonight, I am super excited about. This is one of the first gentlemen that I found out about when I got into the whole saber business, when I first started sabering. He is definitely an OG in the flow community. And in fact, him and a lot of his contemporaries are the reason we have a Flow of the Show segment in this show, because I've always loved flow, and I've always felt it was really underrepresented. You don't get to, I don't know of any other places that have regular flow segments where you can see different flow artists every week. But this gentleman, we are lucky to have him as a producer, as an OG, because he was one of the first artists out there teaching other people the art of flow. And now he has so many disciples underneath him worldwide. It is absolutely amazing. I apologize for my voice. I've been at a con all day. So with no further ado, please give it up for the one, the only Darth Cephalus, a.k.a. James Kaiser.
You have 30 seconds to get water.
Oh yeah. Ooh. How you doing, Mr.
Up?
Kaiser?
Oh, pretty good. How are you doing?
I am beautiful. It's always good to see you. Man, those holocrons are incredible. I always forget until I revisit them again how detailed and beautiful they are.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, these days, most of the time, if you search for holocrons on like a Google search, most of what you see are mine. Because I sort of took that as my my niche. I always loved the idea of holocrons, and they were always
Right.
an undervalued part of Legends, and they've been sort of downplayed since the Disney buy. I mean, they're still there, they're still important, but there used to be so many of them, and they used to be so varied and have such a tradition to them that I decided, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, over time I've created like the entire Sith tradition of holocrons, and the Jedi tradition as well, and I've got like 70 some odd models these days. So a good majority of what you see floating around on image searches online is my stuff.
That is absolutely amazing. You were like the Wikipedia. When people talk about holocrons, it's usually your work that people are thinking about. That is absolutely amazing. So, James, I wanted to bring. So tonight is kind of a special night, and he may not be on right now, but I kind of want to throw some love at Darth Morbidius, because you were on here tonight because of something that was kind of started by him. For those that may or may not know and that have watched our past episodes, Darth Morbidius is a flow artist. underneath your tutelage, I believe. But he had extended out to me, and he made this little video and everything. He was like, "Oh man, they're not, you're not running Spin. James isn't running Spin Wars this year, and it would be the 10th anniversary, and he's put so much work into it. It would just be a shame to not at least see it to its 10." And then I contacted you, and it looks like Spin Wars is back on again.
Yep. Yeah, it was
Tell us
never
about
really
that.
officially off, but I was debating it. It's been a heck of a year, and so I've been trying to find the time to put stuff like that together, and it ended up being a lot shorter notice than usual. But just for your viewers who may not be aware of what Spin Wars is, it's basically, it started 10 years ago, back when, as you mentioned, people just did not consider flow arts as a thing.
Right.
I was on all the lightsaber forums and everything like that. And anytime I showed anybody what I did or talked about the idea of flow arts, everybody just came out of the woodwork like they were closet sword masters to say, that's not going to work in a combat situation. And I'm like,
Right.
what the heck are you doing with your lightsabers? And I know that some people do the full combat, and I totally respect that. But
Right.
I do a lot of the artistry stuff, and I focus on stuff that's more like, I mean, and it has reference in Star Wars lore. The idea of saber meditations and moving meditations and lightsaber forms that were not specifically designed for combat. For all the super nerds out there, this is basically like the idea behind a lot of what happens in Naman or Form 6. And so, and nobody was doing that sort of stuff. And so I decided, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I had been doing for a while. And I've got a background in like fencing, so I know all about the economy of motion and how undramatic real sword fights look.
Right.
And like, I want to do the dancey stuff. So I'm going to do the dancey stuff.
Right.
And so after I'd been doing that for a few years, I sort of came up with the idea of, there's a few of us doing this. Why don't we get together and create sort of a year in retrospective of some of the people who are doing this? And that was Spin Wars 1, which at the time I just sort of came up with the idea of Spin Wars because it was on the opening crawl generator was easy enough to churn star into.
Right.
There were like 4 of us, I think, at that time. And so it evolved over the years. In past years, we've actually ended up having like 2 separate videos during the year. I think we had a spin-off around the time that Rogue One came out. So I had Spin Wars, and then I had a Spin Wars story that came out concurrently with it. So all in all, there have been 12 videos up to this point.
Wow.
Over the course of pretty soon here, 10 years.
Right.
And so it's grown, and then with the pandemic, it shrank back a little bit again. We've had voting and prizes, and I'll throw it over to you a little bit for that announcement in a bit. But yeah, we've had prizes, and then we scaled back on that. And this year I was just I figured, there's 9 core Skywalker franchise films. So I got to episode 9, or I got to Spin Wars episode 9. I'm like, is this the time?
Right.
And I was really debating it because of the amount of time and energy that goes into it. And then Darth Morbidius came up, and he's like, are you doing Spin Wars? I'm ready for Spin Wars. Is it going to happen this year? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, it has to happen. And then before I know it, he's put together this like whole video, and he said, can I share this? I'm like, okay, fine. I was on the fence. You just shoved me back on the original side of the fence. Let's do this. And so he shared it out there. And so, yeah, we're doing Spin Wars again. And I've already got a couple of submissions, which means it's definitely going to happen. So
Woo! Exciting. So is there an official like range of time? Like, do you have to get your video in by January 5th or something like that?
So the tradition with Spin Wars is that the video debuts on New Year's. The 1st. So I always release them on the 1st, and there's like some build up coming up to that. But the deadline for submission, I've got a soft deadline of the 23rd. Okay. Which is like 6 days from now.
Oh, wow. So yeah, that's
we're
coming
right up on it. If people want to contact me and get stuff in a little bit later, as long as I know it's coming and it's not too much later, I can manage that. Right. But yeah, I need a few days to edit so that I can get everything up and release it on the 1st of the year.
Right. Mez, you still got a couple of days to get your tape in.
Well, Mez has a lightsaber, as I understand it. So you're all set.
Yes.
There's no prerequisite skill level. I mean, some of the people like Christian Castro, who's been on there before, he is a certifiable badass. So
Certifiable, yes.
yeah. So I mean, some of the people are on there like that, but some of the people that have come on over the years, it's like there's no judgment, there's no skill requirement. If you can do a figure eight, you can be on Spin Wars. So all are welcome.
What has this done anything for you? Has it brought more people into Flow? I feel like when I started Kyber Cave 5.5 years ago, Flow was a very small segment. And not that it's huge in the lightsaber community, but I definitely feel like since the pandemic, I've had several people tell me, look, I couldn't go out and fight with my buddies, so I picked up a saber and started trying to do some Flow. Do you think the pandemic helped or hurt people because they could or couldn't get together for the Flow community?
I think that it did a little bit of both. I mean, it definitely brought a lot of people's level of action down quite a bit, but it did, through the isolation, it did lead us to what can we do to sort of stay active on our own. And I think that did lead to a boost. I have seen a boost in Flow Arts. A lot of it though was just the time it took, because Flow Arts is not something that's new. It's just relatively new to the lightsaber community.
Right.
We've had flow artists doing this stuff for quite a while now, but they've been doing it as part of circus arts. So a lot of it's been fire, kind of like what you saw in the intro video.
Right.
A lot of people have been doing it with LEDs, but flow LEDs are have traditionally been a vastly different creature than collectible lightsabers.
Right.
But you don't want to take your $700 Vader's Vault with a CFX and like an OLED screen on it and chuck it around. If that falls, you've got problems.
Exactly.
So it's a different sort of creature, but now we're starting to see lightsabers come out that are made for it. And Christian Castro, again, is a really good source of that. He makes, in my opinion, the finest of them with the Saber Flux Workshop. But there's also like Flow Sabers, and there have been a few others, but people are starting to make collectible lightsaber looking lightsabers that are designed for this sort of use and abuse. And I think that's fantastic.
Christian Castro, I love that guy, dude. First off, he's just a really cool guy. But he was one that I remember when I first met Christian, I met him as a Flow artist. He was in the Flow of the Show segment. And then I got to see him evolve into creating his own saber company because he couldn't find the equipment out there that he wanted as a Flow artist. So to get to see an artist then develop a company, I mean, it's absolutely incredible to me. And that, like I said, I love that guy's attitude. Another person I want to mention is Josh Pilla. We had him out when we had a con in February. We flew him out from Texas out here to perform. And I see him a lot on TikTok. It seems like he's down at the Disneyland and he'll do like in front of the Millennium Falcon or something. He'll do little performances and stuff. And I feel like that's a really good way to help kind of get the word out there about the sport of flow sabering and to get people to see. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. People to see the potential of the art of flow.
Yeah, it's a great way. I mean, when I first got into it, I still have upon occasion, because I'm in my 40s now, but I still have back issues that really kind of put me out of commission. I started getting those when I was in my 30s, actually like early 30s, possibly late 20s. But I started to get those, and sabering. I looked at myself and I'm like, you are not the kind of guy who's going to go spend time with somebody in spandex and bulging muscles in a gym who tell you how to do stuff. You're the type of guy who needs some sort of nerdier way to do this. Right. So I'm like, well, what do I love? What do I want to do? And so I got into flow arts as sort of a physical activity that was designed to keep me in shape and keep my core strength and stuff like that, so I didn't have back issues. Right. And it worked really well. And so yeah, it's I got into it for the health aspects of it. And it's super fun. It's super entertaining. And it's one of those things that's generally well received. I mean, you can go out at Disneyland in front of the Millennium Falcon or I can head out. I teach at a college, and so I carry my lightsabers around a college campus. And
Nice.
on my way to and from the car, I just bust out a lightsaber and start doing flow arts.
Right.
Some of the videos I've submitted over the years have been actually filmed on the college that I work at, so it's generally well received. And I've only once had campus police come up and just check to make certain I wasn't dangerous, but for the most part, it's well received. It looks great. It's a good way to stay active, and it's just sort of an awesome thing to do with a lightsaber as opposed to letting it sit on the shelf.
And when I say you, I mean anybody here in the audience, if you get a chance to watch a flow show in person as opposed to watching it on the videos like we show you every week, it can be absolutely mesmerizing. It's almost like a magician to me, the way that you get this piece of metal to rotate around your body in different ways and keep the rotations going. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of that is flow arts has sort of a cross compatibility with the art of object manipulation, which is a circus arts, but it's the thing that people do with like contact spheres, like you saw in the movie Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
So object manipulation is part of the flow arts family, and yeah, it can be super mesmerizing, and in person, it's really interactive. I mean, the video that I showed you from the event that I did yesterday, I've actually still got all kinds of soot on my hands from that event. But there were people who were too close when I was about to bring out the whip, and so we had to back those people up. Right. And later have that contact staff, and I dropped it at one point, and it came rolling towards this group of like 5 kids, and I'm like, I told you the front row was exciting. Right. Much danger. I mean, I caught it like 3 or 4 feet away from them, but as it rolling towards them, I could see them like, and I'm like, I told you guys the front row was exciting. Go back to it, but.
Have you ever had, when Mez and I watched, especially the fire flows, I always joke about, like, it seems like every video I've seen, I think I've seen one video of a flow artist that was bald, but everybody else had, like, really long hair. And I was like, I can't believe these people aren't catching their hair on fire more often. Have you had any serious injuries in practice?
I've not had serious injuries. I mean, I've burned my hands a few times, but I've not had serious injuries. I do joke, though, that the only haircuts I've had in the last 29 years have been fire-related. Part of that video from last night, I could see in the video, I turned around and the back of my hair was on fire. Just the tips of it, because it's like I know where the back of my head is, but it's a little bit hard to track where the back of all this is, which is like that much shorter than it was yesterday.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, it happens. It's just part of the thing. I don't know of anybody that I've ever met who... There's a lot of thought and practice that goes into it. You do a lot of work with those things not lit before you ever light them. And you've usually got people on hand. Worst case scenario, they've got wet towels ready to tackle you. But for the most part, they just
like a fire crew.
Yeah, they just mostly let you know that you're on fire and you can put it out.
You're on fire. No, you're really on fire.
Well, in the audio for the video from yesterday, when my hair catches on fire, you could hear one of the people next to the camera yell, "Back hair," and I'm like, "Excuse me?" They meant the hair behind my back was on fire, but yeah, they like yelled "back hair" at me, and I'm like, "What?"
Right. And I'm amazed too to see, like I was telling Mez right before, I think that's the first time I've seen people do the Levisaber, obviously on a saber show, but I don't think I've seen anyone doing the flaming Levisaber. That was pretty amazing to me. Yeah, and the whip was really cool too.
Yeah, I built that flaming Levisaber. That is one of those things. When I first saw Levisaber, there was only one person that I knew of doing it, and that was a guy named Flow Warrior that I believe you've had on the show.
Yes.
He was the only one I'd ever seen do that, though I have seen where that trick comes from, which is an old magician's trick called the dancing cane.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so he adapted that to lightsaber, and I saw that, and I'm like, that is awesome. I want to know how to do that. And so I contacted him, and I said, okay, well, how are you doing that? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, wow.
And he was the only, to my knowledge, he was the only one who was really doing it. And so I sat down with a string and a saber, and I tried to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that was the way that it was before things like the throw Go Throw Saber. What's the name of
Right.
that thing? There's a thing out there that's actually one you can buy.
Mhm.
But before that, there were like a few of us doing that technique, and all of us had different ways to approach it.
Right. Right.
My method allows me to do something that you saw in that video, where I can keep it going around my body and get about 8 feet out. And that's something that means that I can't do some of the other tricks that people can do
Right.
with the throw goes. But yeah, we all had a different way of doing it, and that specifically has become really popular over the last few years. So it was nice to see that. I eventually like released a video that had a little bit of my technique on it.
Right.
Because I figured, there's enough people doing this. You don't have to be tight-lipped about it anymore. But for a while, the running sort of process was, somebody wants to know how to do that, you say, watch the videos and figure it out. You'll figure out your own.
I feel like, and I don't. There may not be any comparison. Maybe it's just in my head, but a lot of flow feels to me like the early culture of skateboarding. Like there were people trying certain tricks, and just when you think that everybody's done everything they can do, somebody comes out with some a whip now, or they've got. We had Mary Beth Gibbons, who was the voice of Boo on Monsters Inc. We were doing an interview with her, but she was actually, if you go back and watch that show, she was our flow for that episode.
I remember that show. She does rope dart.
Yeah, she had like a flaming dart thing. And I was like, oh my God. It was like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, but like on fire. It was amazing to me.
That's exactly where that comes from. That is the martial art rope dart transferred into a ball of fire.
Wow, but she was able to spin it around her body and do all kinds of, I mean, just artistically beautiful, things with this fire. But every time I think I've seen everything someone can do, somebody comes out with some new way to set something on fire.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that flaming or levy sword that I have, it's like nobody was making those. I figured out how to do it with a saber a long time ago, and I'm like, I want to see if I can do this with fire. And that thing is just stupid heavy.
Wow.
You can't tell in those videos, but that thing it's lighter than my last one. My first version was very, very heavy, and it's like I get out of it, and one of my forearms is like jacked compared to the other one. But yeah, it's and I that's my second attempt at it, and I like had to wrap the whole pommel in lead fishing weight and stuff to try to get the balance right. And
right.
Yeah, so
I was just thinking, like, how is the string, or however because obviously it's attached to your hand somewhere, but how is that not on fire?
Because it's Kevlar.
Ah, see.
Yeah, I've had issues before where I've accidentally fueled that string and it has caught on fire,
right?
But only very briefly, and it's very dramatic when it happens. But yeah, you have to make certain that the string, whatever string you're using, if you're using it for lightsabers, you have to make certain the string can take the weight of the lightsaber. If you're using it for fire, you have to make certain that the string's not going to catch on fire.
Right. Don't forget, y'all, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the side here. Many do not know James is so multifaceted and multi-talented. There's so many things. He is very well known for the flow, but he is also known for his holocrons. And there was something else I wanted to bring up. Now I'm just totally blinking. You do so many different things. I can't keep track of everything that you're doing. Tell us a little bit about your holocrons, because we talked about that a little bit at the beginning, and you have an example, I think, of one there. And Metz, do you have I know there was a photo that showed like a wall of different holocrons. Well, go ahead and show us the one that you got, James, while she's bringing up that photo. She said,
yeah, I brought one of my little ones because I'm not at home right now, but this was, there we go. This is my little Revan model.
Nice.
And this is made of resin. But basically what I decided was, I think when I first did a foray into 3D printing, one of the first things that I wanted to try to do was to make a holocron. And there was one holocron design out there, and I've always been so fascinated and in love with the idea of holocrons, because since the Disney buyout, a lot of it has been, well, there's just holocrons floating around, and the Jedis have like a wall of them, and it's just a holocron. It's not really attached.
You're right.
There we go. But yeah, in the Legends arcs, the holocrons were very unique and very keyed to the creator, to the extent that they had a portion of their consciousness in them. So they were very
Right.
rare, and there was a lineage of holocrons. There's like a whole story in the Darth Bane books about his how he comes to finally build one after trying unsuccessfully for so long. But yeah, so I just really liked that idea as a super nerd myself, who's into the idea of libraries and knowledge and stuff like that. I liked the idea of holocrons as the Star Wars equivalent of the way to pass lore down through generations, but to also safeguard it so that only certain people can access it. And so yeah, I started out with making the Holocron of Heresies, which is like the one that you see more often than any of the others, and that's not at all exclusive to me, but I made my version of it that had some design differences. And then I went from there. I made the Holocron of Darth Nihilus because he was supposed to have had one, but there's very little visual reference about what it looks like.
And you seem to have a personal love of Nihilus.
Yep, yeah, I do.
For those that have not seen a lot of James's cosplay, he does a fantastic Nihilus. I particularly like the holiday Nihilus. I don't know what's the plural for Nihilus.
Well, that's the Ghost of Republic's Past.
Ah, I like it.
But yeah, I love Darth Nihilus because he's the best combination that I can do. There's one better, but Aboleth, I think. But the best combination that I can do of my two geeky fandoms, which is the Cthulhu mythos and Star Wars. And so Nihilus is very close to a Cthulhu mythos monster, which is why I like him so much. But yeah, he was my first costume with the 501st. I now have 2 different approved versions of him. I do Revan as well. Yeah, there's Christmas.
Nice. Imagine seeing that coming down your chimney.
Yeah. but yeah, so his was my most popular holocron, and it was the second one I designed. And these days I have roughly 70 different designs that encompass everything from Dawn of the Jedi. I've got one that's based off of the Throyor in Dawn of the Jedi, all the way up through like the end times of the Star Wars timeline, which is like Darth Krayt and Cade Skywalker sort of stuff.
Wow. What is your creative process for that? Do you read the novels in the extended universe and all that? Are you a fan of all that?
Some of them. I like some of them, and then some of them get to be too much for me. But I like the comics quite a bit. My design process for it is, if there is a visual reference, I base it off the visual reference. Mm-hmm. So often there's not. So like my Frieden Nad holocron is based off the visual reference, but Exar Kun's holocron, nobody really knew what that looked like. So I basically won't go in and I find iconography and design elements that are fitting to the character's mythology, history, whatever. Like with Darth Krayt, I actually modeled it off of the elements that are on the head or the forehead of his helmet.
Right.
And it's got a little homage at the bottom to the offset eyes.
Nice.
There's like 2 circles at the bottom, and they're both asymmetrical. So it was an homage to his offset eyes and his helmet detail.
Right.
And yeah, so it's got stuff on there about the one Sith and things like that. So it's like I go in and I try to design since these things are so individual to the makers, I try to figure out, okay, well, what do we know that maker from? What are they famous for? What have we seen of them? What sort of designs do they seem to preference? And I try to work that into a holocron.
Nice. And for those who are interested in holocrons, so much cooler than anything you can get at the amusement parks, I promise you. But the information is going to be in our description down below. But really quickly, easily, it is at etsy.com/DC holocrons. DC standing for Darth Cephalus, I imagine.
Yep. Not anything to do with Washington, D.C. I'm nowhere near that. But yes.
But if that's what it takes for you to remember that, DC holocron, super easy. You can get one or many for yourself or for other people, but they are not guaranteed to be here before holiday. We're only 6 days away.
At this point, I can tell you they probably won't be, because I've got a whole ton of them I have to make that some of them are going to be before the holiday and some of them aren't. So
the man is popular. You definitely want to check those out. So I was talking about all the 700 million things that you do, and I finally remembered what it was I wanted to talk about. You also have a long-running and highly respected YouTube channel as well, where it seems like a lot of times you talk about new sabers or new features that are coming in to sabers. So, for example, if TXQ has a new feature, or if Saber Forge is coming out with something new, seems like a lot of times you'll talk about the different types of saber products. Tell us about your channel.
Yeah, so I've stepped away from that avenue at least a little bit, because the saber industry, ever since the advent of LGT and TXQ and the sort of more prolific saber makers out there, it's been very hard to keep up with all of the angles.
Right.
So I like to try to find things that are within my wheelhouse. Like if there's a new Kylo Ren, because I cosplay as Kylo as well. If there's a new Kylo Ren, or if there's anything to do with Nihilus or Revan, I'm all
Right.
about it. If something comes out new that's about flow, I'm all about it. I try to stay on top of some of the boards, but a lot of the saber industry right now has just started moving so fast.
Yeah.
I do post occasionally about that. My channel also includes, it started off with tutorials for flow before I started doing reviews. And that's such a niche group that it was never particularly popular, but the channel really took off when I started working on reviews. And
Right.
I go after a lot of the stuff, like when there were all these people out there who were like, Vader's Vault is awesome and everything else is trash, or Saber Forge is brighter than everybody else and everything else is trash. And everybody was trying to claim we've got the brightest saber because those few lumens just mattered to everybody.
Right, the KR lumen, strip sort of.
And with the NeoPixel tubes, when it's like, this is the better NeoPixel tube. No, this is the better NeoPixel tube. I usually try to come into those debates and say, well, here's my take on it. Let's look at them. Let's see what it boils down to. And a lot of the times for me, I approach it as a performer and a collector. So a lot of the times for me, a lot of those whose is brighter comes down to, they all look like lightsabers and they're all awesome. If every single lumen matters to you, this one's a little bit brighter, this one's got a little bit of color, but
right.
Lightsabers are awesome. We all love them. Just go with what speaks to you. That's the best advice I can give to people. I actually made a lightsaber buying guide that was 5 videos of, you want a lightsaber, what should you look for? What are you going to do with it? What sorts of designs elements are you looking for? What kind of durability do you need? What would you like it to be able to do? And so it just basically goes through, it took 5 videos to do that. Right. But it goes through how should you approach buying a lightsaber? Because not everybody, I mean, I've got 3 golf bags full of lightsabers that serve various purposes. I've got I'm going to throw these around and beat the heck out of them bag. I've got these are costume impractical sabers. And then I've got my somewhere in the middle.
Right.
But not everybody's got a collection like that. So I understand that for a lot of people, it's like, you're going to buy a lightsaber, you're probably going to buy one lightsaber.
Right.
And so
I know for a lot of people, especially in the beginning, unless you have a friend that already has a saber, if this is something that's brand new for you, so many people get overwhelmed with all the terminology and, what's a diamond board versus, a regular board, or what's the difference between all these companies, whose company looks more screen accurate, whose company is more durable. There are so many different factors that I feel like a lot of times people get overwhelmed or frustrated with the amount of different choices that they have, that they don't even know where to start. That was actually one of the reasons I started Kyber Cave, was because the very first saber I bought, and I will not name the company, but it was a lot bigger and chunkier than I thought it was going to be. And it was a cool...
viewers know immediately who that is.
I need say not much more. But I mean, it was a cool saber, but it was not appropriate for what I was trying to do with it. And therefore, so I started Kyber Cave so that you could come in, touch the saber, see how it feels in your hand, and go home that day with it. And I feel like that's what a lot of people miss when they're shopping online, is they don't get that feeling for what I often say, you'll never get the perfect, your second saber is your perfect lightsaber, because you have to buy the first one to figure out what it is that you want anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where the first one failed you. Yeah, that's pretty well true. My videos were an attempt to try to help people navigate that process as best I could. And that's what a lot of the videos are, whether they're flow demos, or whether they're tutorials, or whether they're reviews. My channel is basically about trying to share my knowledge and help people navigate a otherwise very complicated landscape. And I do tutorials on costuming as well. And I've had a lot of people, like in my local 501st Garrison, our new Revan came up to me and he's like, I wouldn't have been able to build this without you. Your Becoming Revan video really helped me put this together. I had no idea how to wear this hood. And so, yeah, I like the fact that these videos that I do help people and help them navigate something that's rather unapproachable at times.
Right. So if you are interested in learning a little bit about flow, make sure. What is that YouTube channel, James?
That is, the YouTube channel is Darth Cephalus.
Cephalus.
I try to streamline things as best I can. So if you just search YouTube for Darth Cephalus, or if you do the, I think it's like a channel / Darth Cephalus or something like that. It's right. all me.
Right. There we go. Thank you, Mets.
There we go. Yeah. / at Darth Cephalus.
So many great topics on that channel. I know every once in a while when I'm on YouTube, just in the suggested by, every once in a while, one of your videos, even your old stuff for some reason pops up on my YouTube page. And I always love your analysis. You're very in depth. You talk a lot about the weight, how it feels, accuracy, and you do a great job on I know particularly on your Saber reviews.
Yeah, and I take stuff apart.
Right.
Because I talk a lot of times that's something that people want to know is how is this thing constructed? Will it hold up? And so yeah, I place a lot of value on taking stuff apart and showing you what the parts are and what it's made of and what's compatible with what. And so, but yeah, that's like you said, I do a million different things, but they're all sort of geared towards I don't know if we've got time for it, but a brief analogy or a brief anecdote that I had one of my students a while back, and in the middle of a break when we're not in class, I talk about weird stuff, and somehow or another, as happens sometimes, the conversation turned towards medicinal leeches. I don't know why, but it did. And one of my students said, that's not a thing. Nobody really did that. And I said, oh, it's totally a thing. I've got a jar up on my shelf. And they're like, you have a jar of medicinal leeches on your shelf? And I'm like, yeah, it's right next to my jar of mercury. And my student looked at me and said, what are you, some kind of wizard? And one of my other students
I'm an alchemist.
Yeah, one of my other students' responses, though, really told me that I'm on the right life path, because they said, the guy spends his time teaching classes on how to use rhetoric and magical words to make people do what you want them to do, and he wanders around campus with a red lightsaber. Of course he's a wizard. So I didn't have to say it. I didn't have to do the self-aggrandizement. That just came out, and I'm like, thank you for validating the last couple of decades of my life right there, because yeah, that's basically it. I do martial arts, I do fencing, I do fire stuff. One of the pictures you had in your intro, that was me with the monster legs in the box in the middle of it in a Halloween magic show. So I do magic.
Wow.
Stage magic.
I know you and your son do martial arts together, but does your whole family, your wife, your son, do they cosplay with you?
Occasionally, yeah. They do. Well, in terms of the martial arts, I actually met my wife because she was my fencing instructor in college.
Oh wow!
But yeah, so we started off hitting each other with sticks. But yeah, they costume with me occasionally. My son's not as into it right now because he's 8 and he's more into other things. But my understanding is that may change at some point. But he comes out as a Jedi every so often, and my wife does too. My son actually, when he grew out of his Jedi outfit just this year, we were getting him a new one, and he requested for one that was black. And I'm like, that's nice. That's my young apprentice who will someday kill me and assume my
right there can only be 2. Oh man, James, I feel like we've talked about so much tonight. We're coming up near the end here. I do want to bring this back full circle and bring this back to Spin Wars, since that is kind of the thing that's in this time period right now. Mm-hmm. For anybody that's just now coming in and might have missed the beginning, you want to give them the really quick scoop. You said you've got roughly 6 more days or so to get these tapes in. Yep. I also want to let people know that James has allowed Kyber Cave to give a winner, a saber, to the winner of the competition this year.
Yeah, so basically for anybody who missed it, Spin Wars is an end-of-the-year Saber collaborative montage. That's a mouthful, but it's basically people within the community who do stuff with lightsabers, choreography, flow arts, forms. If you do that sort of stuff and you put it on film and you submit it, we'll put you in the montage. The montage is something that video submissions are due by somewhere around the 23rd. So you got a little bit longer for it, but not too much. So you got to get on top of things. They don't have to be highly polished. It's open to all skill levels. As long as you can throw a figure eight, you can go into a spin, or actually just as long as you can strike with a saber, you can go into a spin wars. Heck, as long as you can hold it. Or you can show off all the cool stuff that you do. But I put it together in a montage. We released that on the 1st of the year. So we've been doing this for 10, or it'll be 10 years now. So this is Spin Wars X.
Nice.
If you're looking for where to submit those, find me on Facebook, Darth Cephalus on Facebook. Send me a message on there, or look for the announcements and there's more instructions. In terms of after that, after the 1st, when the video is released, we're going to have online voting. So the people who are viewing the video get to vote.
Nice.
I'm asking the performers themselves not to, but other people, your friends, your family, they can vote. Strangers in the community, they can vote. There will be 2 winners this time around. One of those winners is Van has generously agreed to donate a saber for one of the winners, and the other winner will get something special in the holocron department. Ooh. I actually have a holocron design that I haven't shared yet, or haven't shared before, because I don't want to make it for other people because it is super complicated. Ooh. But I decided I am willing to make exactly one for some other people, and this is the place to win it.
Wow, man, I might need to just pick up a saber and start seeing if I can get me a holocron. Hey, James, I want to thank you. Not only thank you for coming out tonight and talking to us about Spin Wars, your DC holocrons on Etsy, and all the other exciting things you do, but I personally want to thank you for all the hard work you've put into this show that you do. A lot of people, you see his picture every week, he's in the credits, but you don't realize what this man is doing behind the scenes to find all of these wonderful artists all over the world for us, so that we can, keep this art form going. So, James, I really want to thank you for helping us produce this show every week.
Yeah, and thank you for providing a platform for what otherwise might go unnoticed. So,
well, hey, we go together like peanut butter and jelly. All right, y'all. That is James Kyser. Make sure to check out DC Holocrons on Etsy. Head over to his Facebook page, and then check him out on YouTube too. There's so much good James all over the place. Take it easy, my friend. You have a good night.
You too. Good night.
All right, roll that. Dude, I wish we had the bunny nihilist. That one cracked. He has a video that he had put out on Easter, where he was Dark Nihilist in his bunny suit. It was fantastic.
Oh, I kind of think I saw it though, but I didn't think about getting. Who was that? Was that your child?
I think that was Raph. We got machines running back here. You don't know what's going on.
No, I don't. But I just saw it was almost like a horror movie where someone walks by. I just saw something
like a scary thing. No, I'm completely by myself in here. What are you talking about?
Well, there's somebody in your bathroom. Just to let you know. Well, thank you, James Kyser, for coming on our show. I enjoyed that interview. Who was that same one? That was probably Raph.
Oh no, there's Raph. Wait, did James? Oh, that was okay. That was Jeff. Yeah,
hi, Raph.
I was like, wait a minute. I thought that was Raph, and then Raph just walks out of the back.
Oh, whoa, it's a ghost.
I'm watching on the other side.
He's watching on the other side. Thanks, Raph. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Raph.
Don't get your hand cut off of the machine while you're watching the show.
Yes. Have a great night, James. Thank you so much for coming on our show. If you guys want to check him out, his YouTube channel is in the description below. And I did post his Etsy and his Facebook in the comments in our live chat here. So you can check out his info there. The DC Holocrons are really check that out. Double guest episode now with Rafi. All right, guys. So next is our very last, at least for a while, Kevin Hogan Comic-Con reporter segment. We Kevin is taking a break, and we are um, gonna miss him deeply. I've always enjoyed editing his stuff because I think you have a pleasant voice to like just to listen to like and then it just enjoys the information and stuff.
See,
So
Kevin recently got Employee of the Year over at his normal job, and so now he's like too good for us. He
uh,
can't hang out with us peons
uh,
anymore because he's the
uh,
Employee of the Year.
all right. Well, please enjoy the last Kevin Comic Con
We love you, Kev.
report.
Hello, this is Kevin Hogan from Northern California with an episode of California Comic Con Adventures. On the weekend of Saturday, December the 9th, 2023 was the Sacramento Santa Parade 2023 in downtown Sacramento. Here we got to see thousands of fans line the streets of the downtown Sacramento area around the Capitol building, watching lots of fun floats and cosplay groups going down the streets there. I myself was with the League of Heroes Inspired group, which is a fun charity organization that shows up at fun events there, inspiring kids and fun organizations there to go out there and be happy and feel better and make the world a better place there. There are also other great groups there like the 916 Ghostbusters, also David Perez's cosplay group was there and others. So we got to see also Santa Claus, we got to see the Toys R Us, Joffrey the Giraffe, and many other fun floats there going in the Sacramento Parade there. This is an annual event there, so if you happen to know an organization that likes to participate or something else in one of the other holidays for the Sacramento type parades, be sure to check them out and contact the city organization. On that same weekend of December the 10th, 2023, our friends over at Ohana Comic-Con had another one of their fun Comic-Con events over in Central California's city of Merced, California. Ohana Comic-Con, as you know, travels up and down the state of California every weekend, hosting another fun Comic-Con event in a different town every weekend in a different place. And their events are very economically priced. Admissions usually less than $10 per person, and kids 10 and under are free. They often have free parking nearby because they're in Moose or Elk Lodges or community centers like that there. And if you stick around to the afternoon around 2:30 is when their fun cosplay contest is, so you get to hang out with friends and see their fun costumes they made there and win some fun prizes. So whenever Ohana Comic Con comes to a town near you, definitely recommend checking it out. And for those of you looking forward to upcoming events, be sure to check out SAC Anime. It's one of the largest Comic-Con events in the Sacramento area. That's going to be the weekend of January the 5th through the 7th, 2024. And also, for all of you mascot and furry fans, Further Confusion is going to be coming to the San Jose Convention Center the weekend of January the 11th through the 15th, 2024. And also, for those of you down in the Fresno, Central California area, Ohana Comic-Con is going to be coming down to your area on January the 14th. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the pics, and we'll see you out there at the next Comic-Con.
Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, thank you,
for all your
Kevin.
reports from before my time. So, thank you very much, and we appreciate you have been diligently giving us reports every show.
We are in debt with you.
Yes, we still hope to see you in our chat, of course, and everything. So,
yes.
that little last bit Saber like salute is kind of like how I was looking at it. So our hats are non-existent hats off. So guys, don't forget to check out the rest of the shows that we have during the week. We have so many, and they're in the info in the description below our show notes for today's show. You can also check out, there's different ways to support our channel. As you see in the ticker below, we have patreon.com/Kyber Cave Productions, where you can actually help support us for as little as $1 a month. We also have kcpmerch.com, where you can actually get some really cool merch. I've got a phone case, a mug, Van there's got a water bottle. There's shirts for different series and such. So please make sure to check those out. Some of my favorites is Beard of the Chair.
Yes.
Most of the merch designed by yours truly. The Retro Alcove was designed by Graveyard. So please check all that out. It really helps support us and all the time we spend on the channel. And I think that's it. But don't, guys, we're getting closer and closer to being at 1,600. So that's really exciting. We'll do another Saber giveaway when that comes up.
I think we are 35 away, I believe.
You know what's funny? Okay, so I'm not sure, maybe Sewong's like me, but totally in the extreme on this part. I am one of those people who is always early to things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here at like 6:30 to go over things to make sure things are ready so it goes as smoothly as possible. And so, and then like this, when I get ready for things, and I'm usually ready early, and then I'm waiting for my children to hurry up and get ready because they're taking too long. Or I'm always like, I'm ready, but no one else is, stuff like that. So Segwong, maybe you're like I am, where it's like you're always just used to being ready early or going. But if you're late to something, Segwong, I'm gonna be a fan.
Yeah, and whereas I usually come in at like 6:50, I'm like, all right, let's rock.
Yes. Guys, we hope you have a wonderful holiday, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah, or any of the holidays that you celebrate.
Happy Kwanzaa,
season. Happy
Festivus
Kwanzaa.
for the rest of us.
Never heard it that way. So thank you so much for being us here. We are not having shows for the next 2 Sundays for Saber Rattle, but the other shows are happening as planned. So please don't forget to tune into those. If you want your Nerdy News Week fill-in, you go to Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific here, wear your pajamas and get your bowl of cereal to have some wonderful news. Happy holidays from Chili Benicia, Kevin Hogan. Thank you so much.
And we have I believe our new episode of Unpopular Opinion should be out soon, as well as Aubrey's show, right?
Yes. So we have 2 new shows. Unpopular Opinion will be
Happy Life Day.
The first one, I think I uploaded it, but it didn't the upload didn't work, so I have to redo it.
Okay.
So the first episode actually will be out tomorrow, so I can get it up there. Unpopular Opinion episode 2 will be edited this week and next, and possibly. It just depends on how long it takes me to edit it, because you guys, Van and Anthony like to talk.
I put this on Anthony.
Especially Anthony. And then New Order, which is Aubrey's new show made with a game made with her and her cohort, Melody Mitchell. We have the first episode recorded, and we are working. There's a lot of pre-production involved. So once we get that part finished, then it's going to be a much smoother ride getting episodes out. But the pre-production is what's taking the longest, I guess you can say, on that stuff. So look for those, guys. Those will be fun to help fill in on the Sunday. Maybe I'll just release them on Sunday evening the next 2 Sundays. And so you guys can
have brand new stuff to watch.
Some Sunday night stuff to watch.
That's right.
Sunday, so.
Don't forget, we will be back here with this show January 7th. I know at least I have one really big, exciting guest coming on. I have the president and owner of the company from Fourzze will be on here. Fourzze, James was just talking about on the last segment. They were the very first company to design a lightsaber specifically for the art of flow.
Space Cat here got a lightsaber from toy from him. Hi.
What's up, Space Cat?
Space Cat, welcome in. I am Metso. I'm the co-host of this show, and I don't do much in the channel at all.
Wow.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you here on Saber Rattle in 3 weeks. Have a great holiday.
January 7th, we'll be back, and so will you. Adios. Have a good holiday. We love